Hey everybody, it's Wisp, and I wanted to talk today about Fire Emblem Heroes Choose Your Legends 1 through 6. Mainly just because Choose Your Legends is one of my favorite video gaming events of the year, and it's kind of spoiled me to any other game. I'm playing other mobile games right now, and the anniversary units can be cool and all that, but this is the only game where we really have control over what happens for the anniversary and who we get, and I think it's amazing. So, we got our results about 3 months ago, and I haven't stopped being hyped up and excited about it. I come from a very biased place where, for the last 5 or 6 years worth of CYL voting, I was giving every single vote to Crom without fail, whether he had a chance at winning or not. Like in the year when Three Houses came out and we all knew who was going to win, I was always giving that support to Crom anyway. But he finally made it, and I have not been able to contain the amount of excitement that brings me. At the same time, I realistically know that this might be the best Choose Your Legends event that can happen. I mean, we got the character I've been fighting for 6 years, but then Tiki, our first dragon or transforming of any kind of unit to win, Salif, who was kind of a fan favorite underdog since he's from such an old game, but not quite a classically old game. He was in that weird area that I didn't think he was going to make it so soon. I'm glad he did, but I didn't think it was possible. And then Female Byleth, who is the main character of the newest game, and the more popular version of the main character at least. I have my own personal feelings, but I'm just saying overall, I think this is pretty much a high. I mean, again, we got Salif going and representing the older game and the classics and that specific style of Fire Emblem games that don't really make their way out anymore with those giant maps and tougher gameplay with the hard stakes. We got Byleth representing modern Fire Emblem, like literally the newest game there is. Then we have Tiki representing the things in Fire Emblem that are not the main characters, the recurring aspects, dragons for the first time again, being a new thing for us to see from a Heroes gameplay perspective, but also it's kind of important to see that these rallies work. Rallies can happen. And then we have Crom, who was kind of in this weird place of he was trending every year online, not necessarily in the market or in the polls, but he was almost always in the top. I think CYL 2, after he got 3 ults in a row, was the only time that he wasn't. So he was someone that a lot of people have been fighting for a long time, but he's also the main character of Fire Emblem Awakening, which is when the franchise almost died, but it got its resurrection, or awakening. So, this is a set of 4 characters that represent a lot. And after coming through 2 years of Three Houses winning either the full poll or half of the poll, I think this is just a great and diverse group. Tiki is technically from the same game as Crom since they're using the adult Tiki model, but she's in 3 different games, and just using the more popular model doesn't really take away from the fact that she was there from the beginning. So in my eyes, this is a huge deal. This is a great win. But I also know that, personally speaking, no CYL is going to top it, and more analytically speaking, it's possible that the public opinion, people do prefer other ones, of course, but I don't know if I'll see another one where I'm this mind blown because now we know the last minute rallies work. The new people winning isn't typically exciting. The only reason it really was for me this time is because it was the 4th part of these 4 winners. Salif shows those older games are now ready and their fan bases are strong enough, which means it's more likely for them to get wins. And I mean, Crom won, so he was the one that everyone was kind of just finally hoping for after he was up in the top for so long. And then also, he represents Awakening, so Lucina got in, but Crom's the main character is what I mean, so just getting an Awakening character doesn't really have the same effect. So, while other years will be amazing, I don't think anything's going to top this one. That out of the way, though, I did want to take a moment to... In the future, I'm going to be making official guesses. And, those guesses will be who I think has a chance of winning and all that. Who I'm going to be voting for. And, of course, my banner of what I think each hero is going to be. Those monthly predictions that I like to do. for now, I just wanted to look at a more broad scope, not narrowing it down to only one of what each character could be. So, I want to start off with Salif because I see the least potential in differentiating for him. Choose Your Legends has a big history of using familial attire. So for Salif, I don't think he's just going to be post-game with his sword because that's kind of what his legendary does already. But I could see him with two different weapons. One being a green tome wearing purplish robes and showcasing his ties to his mother that we almost never see in canon. Or he gets Sigurd's lance and dresses up like Sigurd, which would make more sense because we see a lot of Salif and Sigurd connections. So between the two, I don't think there's a necessarily bad option, in my opinion. I think that the green one would be more unique because we don't normally see Salif tied to Deirdre, but the blue one would be more standard, and when it comes to Choose Your Legends, sometimes standard is the way to go because people voted for this character because they love the character, so taking a random left turn doesn't always work out well. That's why the Three Houses winners all just use their promoted classes and the basic weapons that go with that. So those are kind of the only two routes I see with him. Tiki is in a similar place where she's a dragon, so she can already be any color by default. The only thing going outside of her getting more ethereal robes, wearing either Naga's robes or getting the brand, basically. I've seen a lot of fan art of her getting these red ribbons that tie themselves around her dress like the brand in the same shape. And it could be based on how Chrom champions Naga, and Chrom performs the awakening and literally becomes the awakener. Well, in a DLC, you can go through the same process where Chrom helps Lucina do the same thing, but with Tiki. I could see them making that Tiki, who was basically a Naga-like figure, represent Brave Tiki. The only thing I can see really other than a dragon is her being the sword unit and taking Marth's sword and wearing more Marth-like clothes because Tiki loves Marmor so much. And I don't think that anyone was voting for Tiki hoping to get her not in a dragon form. So I don't think that one's happening. But putting it out there that I do think it's a possibility. Byleth is the biggest wild card, where I really don't know what to say about her, because she is from the game where any character can wear any class outfit, be any class. And Byleth does have a canonical or a preferred personal promotion in the form of Enlightened One, but she already has that in the legendary form. Byleth is also already a sword unit and a blue tome unit. When I'm looking at things, I realized that I think they're going to go a little off the cuff here. They could use Geralt's robes, put Byleth in the orange clothing, and give her a lance. But I feel like with Naga being a blue dragon, and my personal opinion that Salif is probably getting a blue lance, it seems hard to believe that. It's an option, but I don't think it's happening. Sothis is a red dragon, and there is the Sothis regalia in Fire Emblem Three Houses, so maybe Byleth will be wearing the Sothis clothing but still keep her dark hair, mainly because since the dark green hair Byleth won, that's the hair that she's going to have. They almost always focus on whichever version of the character won the poll. So if Enlightened One Byleth got more points, then she'd have the mint hair, but she didn't, so we're going to have the darker one. And using the Sothis regalia, Sothis green, like foresty green hair, no one voted for that. I mean, you couldn't vote for that, but it's not the design of Byleth that won, so I don't see them doing that. But the clothing and the general feel of it, I could see happening, making Byleth a dragon unit or a dancer unit or something like that. However, she also has a lot of art from the official sources in the assassin outfit. It promotes well from the mercenary class, and even though Byleth doesn't start in the mercenary class, she is a mercenary before the game starts. So I really could see Brave Byleth pulling from that and using the assassin outfit. I think it would also be cool because she could have a really cool dagger effect and be our first ever dagger unit to make it into Choose Your Legends. Dagger units are kind of cool. They're pretty hard to use. They don't always have usefulness depending on the map. But for a brave hero, I think they could really rework things and make sure that they emphasize Byleth functioning as a unit, not just as a support unit, and work that into her effects. So I don't think that the way daggers have been represented in the past means that we can never have a brave dagger. Plus, like I said, Intelligent Systems loves to draw female Byleth specifically in the assassin uniform. Male Byleth you see a lot more in things like the mercenary uniform or the swordmaster uniform. But the assassin one, all the time with female Byleth. By all the time, I'm pretty sure I'm talking about like 3 cards and then a bunch of fan art that is not IS's fault. But it's more to go off of than any of the other classes, is kind of my main point with it. And it's not a bad outfit, so I could completely see why they would go that direction. But of course, me being me, the one that I am the most familiar with and the one who I know the most about would be Chrom. And Chrom, I see a bunch of potential for his brave outfit and brave uniform. Right off the bat, like I've said before, the Choose Your Legends units in their brave attire typically represent their family. Both of Chrom's sisters are healers, even though he can't be one himself. So I do think that we could get Chrom wearing Imran's outfit or something very similar to Imran's outfit, using a staff, making him colorless. Not the most exciting way to represent Chrom, because him not having magic, but then still being chosen by Naga and becoming his champion is kind of cool, and not something that I would love to take away from him. So I just really don't see it as the best way to represent him. But it's possible that they do it. Another option that I see for Chrom is making him a lance unit. Lucina got a lance for her brave unit, and Chrom already copied her by coming into the game as a legendary unit as a blue bow, despite not wielding a bow in his main class. Chrom's main secondary weapon is a lance. You can reclass him into an archer or a bow knight, but it's not part of his main moveset, so for legendary Chrom to use that doesn't really make him feel or play like Chrom. So you could get a lance. My idea for where that would go artistically speaking is a little harder, because maybe he dresses up like Lucina because that's his best friend, because she's his daughter, and he can just like wear her Marth-like clothes, but that's not visually that interesting or that different from what we already have. So the weapon makes sense to me, but outfit-wise, I don't see any existing outfit that really leads itself to him having the lance. And since his parents don't have designs, I obviously can't pull from that. Green's another one that's kind of weird for Chrom. I mean, he could wield an axe because he hasn't wielded an axe before. He has 2 ults where he uses the axe weapon, but one of them, it's a Christmas bag, and one of them, it's a carrot. Actually, the carrot one is at least an axe. It's a carrot axe. But my point is, he doesn't have like a standard axe. But there's really no precedent in the game for it, so what would be the point? The only reason I mention it is because I think it would be kind of fun to bring up his rivalry with Vike, and he could wear something more similar to the warrior outfit. It could be based off of Basilio, who was a great friend and a mentor in some ways to him, even an advisor. Despite being political rivals, they're great personal friends. And then you could also have inspirations from Vike in there, who was one of his best friends pre-awakening. Or even taking inspiration from Frederick, who was his retainer and helped raise him. But none of those concepts quite feel right for a Brave concept, or really an alt at all. I mean, they're fun what-if scenarios. But for a Brave Chrom, I really think the best place to look is Chrom himself. Chrom's Great Lord outfit and his silver armor doesn't exist in the game yet. So that's already a sign. I mean, Legendary Chrom skipped his promotion class and went straight to a post-game outfit that was inspired by Cypher. And I know nobody really wants another infantry sword for Choose Your Legends, but that armor doesn't exist at all. And one of the biggest moments in Fire Emblem Awakening is when Chrom performs the Awakening. It is the titular act of the game. At that moment, Chrom becomes the Awakener, Naga's champion, helps her ideals, still says things like F you Naga, I'm gonna do what I want, not in those words. But his falchion itself becomes awakened. He wields the exalted falchion that now glows orange, and the tilt of it, the hilt of it, the center of that, has a blue glow to it. It's a very uniquely designed sword that was only used for the last couple chapters of Awakening, and then it is attainable in Fire Emblem Warriors as well. But for Fire Emblem Heroes to be 5 years old, and for Awakening to be represented with its main character from day one, and to get Legendary Chrom but skip the sword, to me it really seems like Great Lord Chrom with the Awakened Falchion makes some sense, or Exalted Falchion makes some sense, but it's not makes some sense. And again, I know an infantry sword lord is not really what a lot of people want right now, but I can't deny that I would love to see that outfit in the game, and this is probably the last Chrom we're getting, because after this we'll be at 7, which is higher than almost any other character. So if we don't get that outfit for Chrom here, it's probably not coming. Which is fine. It exists in Fire Emblem Warriors and in Fire Emblem Cypher and in Awakening itself, but it would still be nice to see it represented in Heroes, I think. So yeah, I'm excited to finalize my predictions in the future, and then to keep talking about CYL. Maybe talk about where my votes are going and how I'm planning to do that. But for now, those are just general concepts of where I think the designs can go. And I'm not sticking to it too much right now. But thank you, and until next time.